Chapter 33. It was as if the very air were enchanted. Martin, Grum, and Palom followed Rose through the serene woodlands, quiet and high in the sun-warmed afternoon. They had thankfully left the shrews in a backwater tributary of Broadstream. The creatures were arguing and squabbling over the remainder of the food and drink which Rose had given them, because she wanted to travel fast and light. It was a forest as old as time, with a special feel about it, cool in the dark green shade, carpeted with a many-flowered floor, shafted with golden rays casting their light on fern and bush. Velvety green moss was soft under paw, and melodious bird song was the only sound to filter through the variegated canopy of emerald and viridian green. Rose halted by a conical, time-worn rock. "Rose, what is it?" Martin felt his own voice ringing strangely in the stillness. She stroked the monolithic stone and pointed downwards. "Noonvale." Through the trees, Martin saw the land dip down into a huge valley. The blue smoke of cooking fires rose in a lazy spiral above the foliage, and small thatched rooftops could be seen here and there. An aura of time forgotten hung over the beautiful scene. The softly colored patches of flower gardens mixed with the unmarked boundaries of brightly hued orchards, while the light and sparkle of its stream cascaded into full bloom of a waterfall below. High above them, Boldred circled and wheeled on the thermals, casting her great wing shadow over them as she soared gracefully downward. "See you in Noonvale, friends!" They stood looking at one another for a moment, happiness brimming between them. Grum waved his ladle. "We've made it! Come on!" He broke into a run, went head over paws through the loam, and rolled down the valley side, chortling happily. His three companions paused, thrumming the ground as they took off in a dash after him. Vo was not an old mouse, though he was completely gray and wore a beard. As the patriarch of Noonvale, he was an impressive figure, dressed in a flowing green robe with thick cream-colored cord at its middle. His wife, Arya, stood beside him, beautiful and motherly in a lilac gown embroidered with green leaves. Rose threw herself into their welcoming paws breathlessly. Both mice hugged their daughter affectionately. Arya's welcome for Rose was interspersed with anxious inquiries about her son. "Oh, Rose, my Rose, you're home! Did you find your brother? My, you've grown taller. Slimmer, too. That rascal Brome, did you see him? Did he mention his mother and father? Noonvale has been quiet without your singing, Rose. Is Brome following along? Will he be here soon?" Rose's heart sank. Brome and Feldo had not found their way to Noonvale. She could only hope that they were safe somewhere. Rose began gasping out her story, but Vo held up a paw. "Later. It is enough for now that you are safely home, Rose. No doubt you've risked life and limb several times to help your brother. You must realize that Brome is a born wanderer, never content and stubborn to the last word. Well, that young mouse is getting big enough to look after himself. But if you've agreed to meet up here, I expect he'll turn up sooner or later. Maybe someday he'll have sense enough to stay in Noonvale and not go dashing off every time the mood takes him. Ah, Grum Trencher, you good mole, greetings. Who are these two young creatures?" Grum introduced them. "There be Palom and Martin warriors, sir. Them wonderful good friends to I and Miss Roser." Rose's mother, Arya, cut short the introductions busily. "We can talk later. You must be starving. Rose, dear, show your friends where they can wash and find clean robes, then bring them to the council lodge. I must prepare a homecoming party for you." Some time later, Palom and Martin stood at the entrance to Council Lodge. It was an immense, homely old thatched building, its 4 square banquet tables dominating the center beneath smoke-darkened rafters. Rose and Grum led Palom and Martin in, bathed in blossom water and clad in a clean faded purple tunic. Martin held Rose's paw, standing slightly behind the mousemaid. The lodge was packed with the inhabitants of Noonvale. They stood, cheering Rose and Grum heartily. Rose tugged Martin's paw. "Come on, take a bow, Martin." The young mouse bowed formally amid the applause. Urenvo waved him up with the other travelers to their places at table. Every beast stood as the patriarch raised his goblet. "Good food, good friends, and peace forever in this place. May the seasons always be kind to Noonvale." A multitude of voices answered as one. They sat, and the welcome party began. Throughout his life, the memory of that happy day stayed locked secretly in Martin's heart. He sat with Rose between her parents, speechless at the sight of the abundant tables. Flowers trailed everywhere, from the rafters, walls, windows, and table edges. Roses, lilies, vines, and blossoms festooned the whole place, twining around the urns of strawberry cordial, dandelion and burdock cup, mint and lavender water, chestnut ale, blackcurrant wine, and cider. Platters and trays were heaped high with salads, cheeses, breads, and pasties whose contents he could only guess at. Babies and little ones seated on their parents' laps gazed longingly at their array of trifles, flans, puddings, pies, and tartlets, each with its honey-covered contents peeking through mounds of cream. Grum chose a deep slice of cherry cake glazed with candied nuts. Allowing the tiny mole sitting with him to take a huge bite, he chuckled. "Don't bite off more than you can chew, Bungo." It took a while for the infant to swallow it all. He tugged at Grum's snout.
"Yeah, give I some strawberry drink, Uncle Grum. You wouldn't like I to perish of thirst."
A friendly hedgehog maid sat next to Palom, offering him various savory delights. "Try our leek and chestnut pasty. Here, let me pour some thyme and radish sauce on it for you." Palom dug in gratefully. "Thank you, marm. Most kind of you, marm." "Marm? What do you think I am? Some old spike maid?" She laughed. "My name is Teaselpaw. Have you tasted our chestnut ale? My family brews it." Palom flushed beneath his spikes, bearing his snout in the beaker. "It's very tasty, marm. Puzzle up, marm." Martin and Rose chose a damson and hazelnut flan topped with mint cream. They attacked the plate from both sides, meeting in the middle of the platter. Rose wiped cream from Martin's nose with a napkin. "What'll we try next? Cherry cake?" Martin shook his head vigorously. "No, thanks. I don't want to go to sleep yet." They both laughed, remembering the sly Agril. Boldred was slightly too large for any seat. She perched on a windowsill, demolishing a wild plum and apple pudding, watched by a group of admiring youngsters.
"Can you eat all that by yourself, Mrs. Boldred?"
The owl raised a large talon. "I can eat 3 of these without stopping. This is excellent." The onlooker's eyes grew even wider.
3 plum and apple puddings. Great seasons."
The party went on until late into the night. Nothing was stinted. There was an abundance of everything for every creature. The guests sat back, sipping mint and lavender water as a quartet of otters performed an acrobatic dance, while a band of mice and moles accompanied them, playing a lively slip jig on reed flutes and drums. At a nod from Rose, Martin excused himself quietly and followed the mousemaid and her parents to their cottage. Urenvo relaxed in his favorite chair. Arya took out her embroidery. She sewed slowly as they listened to Rose tell of their adventures. Martin sat at a window seat, letting Rose do all the talking. As Rose described the evil and cruelty of the slave side at Marshank, her parents' faces became more and more grave. Rose came to the end of the tale. Her father nodded. You did well to return home, Rose. While there is such evil, you should be here with your family. If only Brome could see this too. I am sorry that he and his friend Fildo are not here safe, as you are. Let us hope he has the good sense to see that the outside world is not for him, and he returns to us before the autumn. Martin took a deep breath. Sir, he said, I agree that Noonvale is a haven of peace. Would that we could all live in such. But outside there is evil, and I cannot rest here knowing that those I lived with in slavery are still under the heel of battering. I came here for help. Will you allow me to ask for that help among the folk of Noonvale? There may be some here who would join me in a quest to free my friends from slavery. Urenvo's face was serious. You ask a great deal. Our creatures have never seen war. They are dedicated to our life of friendship and peace. His wife said quietly, But my dear, where there is such pain and hardship for so many innocent creatures, surely we could let Martin speak to our folk. Any who wish to help can decide for themselves. Urenvo turned to Martin. My wife speaks wisely. I do not wish for evil to become part of our lives here, but maybe we can prevent the wickedness from spreading. Very well, Martin, ask my creatures for help, and good fortune go with you. I see that you carry a blade. We do not have such things here. For the time you are with us, you must not stay armed. Give me your sword, Martin. The young mouse placed a defensive paw on his sword handle. I am sorry, sir. I cannot do what you ask. Urenvo's eyes were stern in the awkward silence that followed. Arya intervened between the patriarch and the warrior. Martin, I know my husband's feelings, but I think I also know yours too. You have seen suffering and evil in your life. There is none of that to be found at Noonvale. Would you do something for me? I am not asking you to give your sword to Uren. Take it and hang it on the peg by the door. Do this yourself. No one else will touch your blade. Without a word, Martin drew his sword. Going over to the door, he hung the weapon upon a peg protruding from the wall, balancing it by the hilt. It hung there, small and lonely-looking. The young mouse could not help thinking of his father's blade, big and worn, but a proper warrior's weapon, now in the paws of the tyrant. He would take it back someday. Somehow. Rose smiled happily at him. Good. Come and I'll show you to your room. At a glance from Urenvo, Arya intervened once more. No, Rose, you'll have Martin up half the night talking. I'll do it. Follow me, young mouse. When they had gone, Rose's father put his paw about her shoulders and sighed unhappily. Rose, listen to me carefully, daughter. What I tell you is for your own good. This Martin is a warrior, and death walks alongside such creatures. You must never let yourself grow too close to him. The mousemaid smiled. Father, you're not a warrior, you're a worrier. Martin is my best friend in the whole world. He would never hurt me or let me be hurt. I'll change him, you'll see. One day, he will be the most peaceful creature in Noonvale. Urenvo rose from his chair slowly. You and Brome are alike, both strong-willed. I only hope that you are right, Rose, though I think no good will ever come of your friendship, because I can tell that Martin has a will and determination far stronger than any I have ever come across. Good night, my Rose. Before you sleep, think on what I said. Rose ruffled her father's gray beard. Good night, you great fusspot. There's nothing to think about except a much-needed night's rest. When you come to know Martin the Warrior as well as I do, you'll understand.